up, YouTube? So today I want to talk about my Mr. Buddy heater and my experience with it here in the minivan. When I initially bought the Mr. Buddy heater, we had our first snow, and so I wanted to go out and make sure I had something just in case in my travels I was in a place where I wasn't connected to power, because when I am, I just use just a little tiny ceramic heater, and it's more than enough. I've been in lower teens with the ceramic heater, and it's great even on low. But in a case where that wasn't the case, I needed something else. So what I wanted to do was purchase the Mr. Buddy propane heater and have that on hand. And so I got my chance to try it out. Now I live in Texas, and as many of you know, about a week ago or so we had very inclement weather. The thing about that was I was actually traveling. I traveled home to Louisiana to be with my family during bereavement, and they were having like weather. And so I was connected to power at a family member's house, and the electricity went off in the middle of the morning. So no power. So here I am with all my stuff in case I need it. And here's where I needed it. So, and it didn't only come in handy for me, it actually came in handy for my family because they were in the house without any power. So I just went in the house with them and took the Mr. Buddy with me. But let's take a look back at when I actually went to get the Mr. Buddy heater. Alright guys, so I'm kind of headed to get some type of heat for me and Chris because it's snowed today, so that's a little colder than what my electric blanket can handle. I mean, I'm sure if I'm under the covers I'll be warm, but just my face outside of the covers, or you know, kind of my foot outside of the covers, is just way too much. And I still have my ceramic heater, but there are times when I'm not going to be plugged in, and so if I'm not plugged into electricity, then the ceramic heater is of no use. So we're headed to Northern Tool to get a Mr. Buddy heater, and which runs out of propane. And so that's going to be our source of heat when we are not plugged in. So yeah. At the blackbirds who obviously flew south for the winter. Do you see this? It's like Attack of the Birds. Guys, I'm heading into Northern Tool. It's really wet and cold out here. The snow has really stopped for now, so it's just like rain, but you know, it's wet and cold out here. All right, We got what we needed. The Mr. Buddy heater. This thing is pretty much sold out around town. It's hard to believe. Like literally, like all of the Home Depots, all of the Walmarts, none of them had Mr. Buddy. But I scored me one. So the guy says this morning there was like 10 of them on the shelf. There's like one left. Wow. So good for me and Chris. Okay, now I've only been in the store a few minutes. You see the little nasty jokers did? Look what they did to Chris. Oh, that's so wrong. I'ma complain. Talk about them. But I'm get in Chris first. I was going to talk about them little nasty birds that pooed on Chris, but I thought you better get in the car first before you talk about them little nasty birds so they don't poo on you, honey. I ain't got time for that. Who got time for that? So, I can at the very least rinse Chris off, right? Or the weather probably will do it, but I don't want him to poo on me. God, look. Did they get me? Little nasty things. Pooing on my Chris. So I have the Mr. Buddy heater now in the back of the van, and honestly, there's not many places back here for it. It's sitting on top of the ottoman right now, and I'll connect the propane and then turn to pilot and hold it on pilot for about 25 seconds for it to self-light. You don't need a match or a lighter. It'll self-light, and then from there you can choose to put it on low or high. It is a open flame, so I have to be really careful with it. I've tried it in a couple of places. The only other two places that's an option is the dresser, and that won't work because I use it as a headboard. And then I've placed it on the floor here, and I'm just not comfortable with it this close to my sleeping bag, so I'll have to get something smaller. So guys, as you can see, that size Mr. Buddy is too big for me for the minivan. I'm just not comfortable with sleeping with it on in the minivan. If I'm in a situation where it's extreme cold and I'm awake, then fine, but just not comfortable with it. You know, just the thought of maybe turning over at night and the sleeping bag, you know, catching it, or, you know, it does have a tip over shut off, so if it tips over or it's moved, it will shut off, and that's a plus. But the amount of propane that it generates and just the sheer size, it's just too big for the minivan. Now, I have no plans of getting rid of it because it was definitely handy when the electricity went off and I was with my family, and so we were inside the house, and it's how we kept warm, and so it's definitely a plus for that. So I'm gonna keep it because, like I said, I'm not full-time van life. I'm anytime van life, and that's anytime I want a van life, then I van life. So, but anyway, so what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to get another Mr. Heater. I'm just going to get the smaller one. It has a round face about the size of a softball, and the propane can just goes right up under it, and I think that's going to be adequate for the minivan. So I'm going to keep the Mr. Buddy, and I'm going to get, you know, the smaller Mr. Heater. And yeah, so that's what I'll be using in the minivan. And once I get that and try it out, I'll let you know how that went. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Thanks for watching. For more content, subscribe. And don't forget to like and comment.